what does finding your purpose even mean? In this video, I want to simplify it once and for all so that everyone can understand it and also explain it to someone else. Here we go. First of all, we need to understand that all of us desire to our utmost core to be important. We also desire to have some sort of control, some sort of power in our lives, and we get that when other people give us importance. So that is a very important part. Well, how do we become important to other people so that they actually care in some way, shape, or form? We have to bring utility. So we have to be useful in terms of helping other people for them to feel important. So there needs to be some form of win-win situation and exchange that happens to elevate both parties. Fantastic. So if I can participate in fulfilling the life journey of goals that other people have, it could be family and friends, or it could be other people out there in the world that I don't even know, but that I somehow will help in the future. If I'm more useful for a lot of people, that will produce more importance and more significance. But can't I just do that with my family and friends? Is that not sufficient? Well, you want your wife at some point in the future and also your kids to look up to you. And the way that they look up to you is to see that you are important not only to them, but that you are important to the outside world. They want to see you be gone for a period of time, dominate out there in your social circles from being useful, from being important, and then coming home, and then they're stoked to see you because one, you brought home the dough or the feast, and not only that, but you are a winner. Not only at home, because there's no competition there, but you are a winner out there. So as you can see here, we're moving towards some form of utility where you are problem solving for something. Not only are you problem solving, but you're also putting in a lot of work. This is why I emphasize work so much on this channel, because I'll explain it briefly. There's three categories of life. You've got health. What do you use health for? In order for you to treasure relationships and to work, to work on your purpose. That's why you've got health. To learn and to grow. The way we learn and grow is that we have relationships that we care about and we help them and they help us and we find win-win situations. And then we go out into the marketplace by having a business of some sort or being an employee, that works too, where you are solving problems and creating win-win situations there as well with the relationships that you have there. Do you see the connections? There's no point to our existence on the planet if we're not problem solving and not working. So work needs to be a very important part of your daily life and you finding your purpose. Never give up on the developing a powerful work ethic to improve humankind so that you can benefit the lives of your children and of your wife in the future. All of this is combined. The system is perfect. And so if we now understand this, that it is about figuring out what problems do you want to solve. So here we're entering now into a new space where we're trying to figure out what do you love to do? And you want to be able at some point in the future say, wait, like, can you pinch me for a second? Because I'm actually being paid to do this thing that I love. Someone is actually willing to pay me for that because it solves a problem for them. Wow, am I dreaming or something? Like, that is amazing. You want to get to that point where you have that. That's number one. Number two is where not only are they willing to pay you for it because there's a demand for it, but you're extremely good at it. So if you loved the thing, you would end up, becoming advanced in it, right? You'd go into the depth of it and try to understand all the different nuances of it, which would give you specialization. And when you have specialization, you become pretty good at it. And then eventually you become great at it, and eventually you become an absolute master at it. The more masterful you are about that specific subject, And the more that is a demand for in the marketplace and they're willing to pay you, that's fantastic. That's actually the third thing. So you got one, you got to love it. And then number two, you got to become really good at it, which naturally is going to happen because you're doing this on your free time if you could, because you freaking love it. And number three, there's a demand in the marketplace because it solves someone else's problem, right? So if you are fantastically good at chess, like an amazing chess player, if you are at the elite level, people will want to pay to watch you do that. And if it's not a tournament that they actually want to watch, they'll pay YouTubers to talk about you and to invite you and to play against you, and then you'll be paid because people want to see you play. Like, does that make sense? That is, no matter what it is that you do, you are problem solving for someone else's interest. Whether it's actually solving a problem for them or whether it's entertainment, whatever it is, if you're extremely good at it, someone at some point will want to pay you in order for them to learn from you or for you to solve a problem for them, or simply being entertainment. I prefer moving towards the problem solving aspect because there's a little bit too much entertainment. We got to swing the pendulum in the other direction to actually problem solve, because there's a lot of problems on the planet, and I think you agree. If we understand that now, okay, this is just a quick recap of how this thing works. You want to feel important, it's very wise for you to make other people feel important. The way that they feel important is you desiring to solve their problems. That means that you are now becoming useful to them if you guys can agree on a win-win situation where you get paid for something that they want to solve, and then now you're both better off because of it. Capitalism is freaking awesome. So that is how you find your purpose. Well, I have something that I love, but I don't know if someone would be willing to pay me for it yet. Well, this is where I'm going to give you directions now, because there might be a lot of things in life that you love. But the more you integrate yourself into the thing that you love and you begin to make that your profession, you might not actually enjoy the process so much. So this is a thought that I had the other day, and it kind of blew my mind. And I really enjoyed thinking this one through. What happens when you suddenly make yourself go full time in the thing that you did on the side and you really enjoyed it on the side? Like a hobby, for example. What happens is that you will begin to go into that habit or into that hobby or into that profession, and you will hit plateaus and walls. This is because you're becoming more advanced and you are hitting things that other people never will find out about that hobby or habit. And as a result, you are not enjoying it as much as you used to in the past because it's difficult. It's hard. Your opponents are becoming more and more sophisticated. And as a result, you now are not enjoying yourself as much as you used to in the past. And so you are considering now, do I actually love this as much as I used to in the past? Or do I love this at all? Maybe I should try something else. And what happens is that you might be quitting something that you could have loved and become really good at, and you could have solved millions of people's problems with it, but you gave up too soon. And this is what Alex Hormozi calls informed unoptimism, or is it like, basically negative, pessimism, informed pessimism, where you now are learning a little bit about the issue, but you are now becoming pessimistic about it because you'd rather be somewhere else and not doing this thing because you are right now in this present moment losing at it. This is why finding your purpose is so difficult, is because people are trying all these different things and they loved it when it was just a part-time thing and they did it on the side, and then they tried to go pro with it and suddenly it's not as fun anymore. A great example of this is basketball players. Like, playing basketball is fun, okay? If I'm just playing in the park and stuff like that. But if you want me to go pro, I mean, bro, do you know how intensely the practice is? on a daily basis. You have to show up and you have to wake up really early, and you have to do what other people are not willing to do in that specific sport, because tons of people want to play it, but not everyone wants to do what's necessary in order to compete at the highest level. And so you end up having to do 1,000 shots every single day. Like, how many people want to do that? And you've got to do the cardio aspects of it every single day, etc., etc. You come to a point where you become an NBA player and you make millions of dollars, and you kind of don't want to anymore. And it's your job. And it's like, I kind of have to. And if I don't, then I'm going to lose my career. So you continuously in fear mode if you're not enjoying the process. So this is what it's about. It is choosing your love. It's choosing your love first, and then you've got to love your choice, right? This is not just marriage. This is any of your purposes that you might move towards throughout your life. You got to understand that this is how it works, and that you won't enjoy it in the beginning, but as you become better and better and better at it, and you specialize to the point where you are consistently winning over your opponents, both from a perspective of people want to pay you more money, people just want to have you part of their team, or have you specifically solve their problem, the better you become at that game of whatever it is that you decide to become good at, life becomes better. And you're like, man, I can actually do this and get paid for it. And the marketplace are continuously increasing what they want to pay for the thing that I solve for them. That is how it works. And people give up too soon when it comes to finding their purpose, or when they found their purpose and they think that, nah, I want to do something else instead. You just got to make sure that you keep going when you find something, and eventually it will open up to you, and you will begin to see that, yes, this is actually the thing that I truly, truly love doing. So before you choose one thing and then just keep going with it for 20 years without it working, I need to share some things with you. One is, yes, you gotta love it. But two, because you want to decide to get good at it. You can decide to get good at it, but do you have the talent for it? And this is something that actually kind of has to come from someone else. You very often might not know if you have the talent for it. If you know that you do not have the talent for it, maybe you shouldn't do that thing. If you hear from someone else that you don't have the talent, but they're not experienced in that specific genre, then you should probably not listen to them either. Especially if you know that you do have the talent. You need to find out from professionals in your field, in that specific genre, if you do have that personality and the talent and the capacity to become world-class elite in that thing. Because if feeling important is the most important aspect to this, and we want to be useful to society and solve a problem for them, why would you spend 20 years on something where you will become mediocre at best, even though you are putting in world-class effort to become world-class elite level at it, but the world-class elite had some talent that you simply didn't have because you didn't start out with it, and as a result, you're the 5'8" dude that just can't compete on an NBA court, no matter how good you are. This is what we need to realize when we are finding our purpose. It's a journey. It's an evolutionary process where you find your purpose and then you realize that it goes deeper than that. Or your thinking will have evolved over time where you now have a grander vision for your life after having gone very deep into that specific thing. Very often on the journey towards finding your purpose, you'll realize that in the past you were immature about it. You didn't understand the purpose. You didn't understand the process. You didn't understand anything about life potentially. But as you progressed and you began to see what problems are out there, and you began to care about other people instead of only caring about yourself and how you feel, maybe you shouldn't become a musician. Maybe you shouldn't be something that people don't really need from you. Maybe you've got talents and skills in something else that would make a massive difference to the world population. and you would be extremely good at it. Maybe that's the purpose that you should be driving towards. At the end of the day, everything is about truth, searching for truth, and where you align on that truth journey. And we got to use, or I recommend that we use, the definition that I use for truth, which is that which works in the long run and in the big scheme of things. You want to find your purpose. You want to work consistently over an extended, long period of time in that purpose in order for you to become the truth in that thing. Because then you're following the definition. Truth is that which works in the long run and in the big scheme of things. If you are that person in that specific genre or that niche or that business industry, you will become the truth or the standard bearer or the light that other people will follow. And that will become the problem solving that you will do for the human family. This is how you need to think about it. And it's a really, really powerful process. But I want to give you a caveat before you start this journey of finding your purpose. I'm really struggling to find out what I love and what I can become good at and what my talents are, yada, yada. What I instead recommend for you to do before you start that journey, because it's going to be an evolutionary process, and right now you might be in the earlier stages, and it might take you years to find out that purpose. Do you really want to miss out on making money and grinding and learning life's experiences and networking and doing what needs to get done in order for you to find that purpose, to mature into that purpose finding process? You don't want to wait. And so instead of trying to find your purpose at age 16 or 18 or 20 or even 40 for that matter, if you just started, you know what, I'm going to try and figure out my purpose now. Instead, try to build up your financial foundation so that you're not stuck needing money. Because if you're needing money, you will be in scarcity mindset. And when you are thinking about your purpose, you want to be thinking from an abundance mindset. You want to be in the state of, if I had $100 million, what would I do with my time and love to do with my time? And love to do 11 hours a day with my time. Because then we're nearing the abundance mindset. We're nearing the correct purpose instead of doing it from a scarcity mindset of like, what should my purpose be? When you are desperate for money, right? So we don't want to do this during a desperation process. So how do you get out of this desperation process? Firstly, I would recommend OnTrack, which is the business that is basically replacing the education system, where you are able to rub shoulders with people that have found their purpose, that are moving fast in that direction towards their purpose and achieving the goals that are related to it. And you get a mentor that can actually help you to find your purpose. Not only find your purpose, but also navigate your life to understand what will help you gain your financial freedom. Better than just not be desperate from a money perspective, it's also extremely good for your finding purpose mission to not be suffering from a lack of time perspective. This is the combination that everyone desires, obviously, which is time and money. Could you get that? Yes, you can. Does that have to be before you find your purpose? Can you take care of the time and money equation before you try to look for your purpose? Because that would be a very good priority. If you listen to billionaires, they always say, do what you love and have passion, because then you won't quit doing what blah, 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 right? Like, that's great advice, but it's not great advice for someone who's stuck in a scarcity mindset of desperation and doesn't have time and money. Because maybe you don't know what you love, and maybe you're still in that immature type of perspective where you don't know enough about the world and know enough about industries or business in general to know what problems are out there that people would be paying a lot of money in order for you to solve for them. You might be still problem stacking in your life instead of problem solving. So how are you going to solve everyone else's problems when you're still struggling yourself? So the billionaires are correct long term because they don't want you to give up. That's the most important thing, right? But if you know that you're never going to give up on your purpose once you find it, then let's just put that a little bit on the back burner for now and instead focus on getting you outside of the scarcity of time and money first. Let's set up your financial foundation so that you can have all the time in the world, and a little bit of money goes a long way when you have time. How do you go about doing that? I have a very simple process in OnTrack, and it is simply having a full-time job, having a part-time job next to that full-time job. Hey, you're developing your work ethic, you're developing your utility, and you're gaining experience and skills. That's going to lead you in the direction of finding your purpose. And then on the side of that full-time and part-time job, you then start a business or a side hustle of some sort that helps you to replace that full-time job and that part-time job. Once you have replaced it, then you use tools and employees in order for you to replace yourself in that side hustle or business, because you've got so many clients that you don't know what to do with them and you can't fulfill them all on your own. Now you replace that so that you have money, and you don't need a lot. You just need some for your needs, and then you've got time because you've replaced yourself. Now you've got the capacity to look at the big long-term picture and make things happen in your life when it comes to a finding your purpose perspective. This is Finding Your Purpose Simplified. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you are still struggling to find your purpose, talk to someone that's already found his. I suggest me. You can book a call down below in the description. Right now, I'm still taking a few calls. Make sure you do that, and I'll see you guys in the next one.